Hey guys,
Hey,
welcome back to Wild Speculations. I'm Daniel.
I'm Scott.
This week we talk about probably my favorite title thus far, I think.
Oh, Captain, who's Captain?
Oh, loved it. Now we do have chat, guys, going. So
Yes. Feel free to chime in. We will do our best to acknowledge it.
yeah. When we can, we do like to start with what we were right and wrong about.
Yeah.
And you got a big one.
As did you.
Well, yeah. I
would say yours is a bigger one than mine. Mine was just more far-reaching.
Yeah, that's fair. But I know I loved it when Laura was like, mistake?
Yeah. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only one who called that. I know there were,
Well, I mean, it's right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
so, I'm just glad it wasn't one of those where we caught it and the cast didn't, and then we're like, oh, that would have been so perfect.
Yeah. For real. Now we have...
And your right was not.
Yeah, being the power behind the throne, the peace shifter.
Yes.
Really.
Which she very much was, and I liked her, keep going after Caduceus. You're part of this team. You're one of us, and that's another one that we pretty much called with Caduceus and his feelings and
yeah,
because he was definitely lost faith in the group, didn't know what to do.
Yeah, and he did basically acknowledge that a major part of his feelings was like how the ocean was out to get him.
Yeah,
how he felt that was
right,
the case.
which you talked about specifically. I'd say we were both right on that because you talked about that. I talked about his disappointment and anger with the group.
Yeah,
and while he didn't initiate the conversation and the dialogue like I thought was going to happen, a lot of the dialogue was because of how he was acting. So in a way, he did spark it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll call myself half right on that one.
We were all. I think it's unfair to say to claim any sort of credit on what we thought would happen vis-a-vis them taking the boat, like where they were going to go with the boat.
Right. No, because we didn't say they're going to do this. We're saying all we said is they could do any of these things.
Yeah. Though they did end up going back to Nicodranus.
Right.
To get crew, not to clean up the mess.
Right. Although, in a way, they tried. Well, at least shift blame of the mess.
They tried to put it under a rug. I don't think that's the same as cleaning it up.
You've seen Big Daddy, right? Oh, you
Yes.
spilled some milk. Just put the newspaper over. That was their idea of cleaning it up.
Yeah. Accurate. So I was doing some math.
Okay.
And how much Matt charged them for the food and sundries.
Okay.
And he either overcharged them or undercharged them. Because I don't know exactly, like, my gut feeling is he didn't bother with any hard calculations. He just sort of thought about how many people, how long.
Yeah.
And just
it's
threw out
a dozen people?
Yeah.
Roughly?
Yeah, because there's 7 of them and then I think 5 crew.
Yeah.
If my count and memory is correct. Orly plus 4.
Orly, Gallon, Marius, and then they hired 3, didn't they? others.
Okay, so 13.
Yeah.
Like
I said, roughly a dozen.
Yeah.
A baker's dozen, whatever.
Yeah. And they already had a week's worth of food on board. Or a week for 6 or 7 people, however many people they killed.
Right.
Half
a dozen. Well, that was the comment Sam made.
Yeah.
We killed half a dozen people to know what we already know.
Yeah. That comes out to about 180 gold.
Okay.
For 30 days of rations.
At what level?
Just the field rations.
Okay, field rations.
Now, Caduceus said I want to do more, which is why if it's a modest lifestyle you're leading, it's 1 gold per day.
So,
but that includes
13 gold per day.
Yeah, but that includes like your lodging. There's a bunch of stuff that includes that doesn't just include food.
Right. So call it 10 gold a day. A month is 30 gold. Or no, 300 gold. Which is what his initial thing was.
Yeah.
And then they dropped it.
Yeah. And so I did the math. If you just do rations, it's 180 gold for 12 people.
Okay.
For 30 days. And that is 720 pounds of food. And a barrel holds 80 pounds of stuff. So they would have needed 9 barrels for all of it. We don't know how many they had. Presumably they had some. But, yeah. Like I said, I kind of went down a rabbit hole with it. But that's the mini game I like to play when I'm a player and we're going cross country.
Yeah.
I love encumbrance for that reason. I love having to nickel and dime your way.
Encumbrance is fun. It can get frustrating, but it's fun.
Yeah.
I like the encumbrance variant.
So one of the things that may come to bite them is they didn't bother to get anything on her shopping list.
Yeah.
Presumably Ford is going to try to play himself off as the captain that they defeated.
Yeah.
And
that's what he did right at the end of the episode.
Yep. Now, I don't think Avantika is on those ships, those boats.
No.
Coming over. I think at most it'll be her first mate.
Okay.
But even then, I don't even know if it'll be that high.
We're already discussing the end of the episode in next episode, so let's rewind and.
Well, I'm doing it because, like,
right.
I mentioned that on their shopping trip, they didn't buy any of the stuff that she wanted to be brought.
Yes. And
they were thinking, well, this is trap making material.
No. Right.
No, that was, I'm planning a trip into the island, and these are the adventuring supplies I want.
Yeah. We're going Jumanji and exploring.
Yeah. So they may be in want of everything on that list when they get there.
Yeah. And, pirate or seafaring campaigns, which I learned as a player in the Pathfinder, pirate ship set campaign I played with my group when I was up in Flagstaff, can very easily be derailed greatly.
Oh, yeah.
When you kill the captain and take over the boat, like 2 of the 6 campaign books earlier than you're supposed to.
Yeah. Which is basically the situation that Matt's found himself in.
But rewinding back to the beginning, the first thing he did, and we didn't say this, but we kind of touched on what's going to happen, was the guy didn't die. Gallon didn't die.
Yeah. Because we talked about how that surprised me because she specifically said before she was going to hit him that she didn't want to kill him.
And he was for sure dead at the end of the previous episode. And then he's crawling away with the axe still in his head. So he rolled that back, not in the way we were thinking he might, but he did roll that back.
And I think
got him promoted to first mate by that.
Now, do you think that's because of a conversation he may have had with Laura, and Laura being a little upset that she didn't get to take a captive when she wanted to? Or do you think he realized, having a narrative outlet for exposition would be super useful? If they wanted to save him, I'll roll it back.
I don't think it was for exposition's sake. I think either Laura said something, maybe not a full-blown conversation, but may have been like, dang, I really didn't want to kill that guy, just kind of a quick vent. Or Matt thought back and was like, well, she really didn't want to kill him. Maybe I shouldn't have,
narrated dying.
Yeah. Narrated that, so let me roll it back. I think it was one of those two rather than an idea for exposition or a big long complaint discussion.
Okay, no, that's fair.
But it's possible any one of the four could have happened.
Yeah. Or any combination.
Yes,
thereof.
Any combination thereof. I did like that though. And that gives them another person who knows sailing. Of course, we got to see Orly again. He's back.
Now, before starting, I asked you for your MVP.
Right, which was not.
Yeah.
Character-wise.
And I can see that.
And I agree with you on player-wise, but when you asked me that, I was thinking character.
Yeah. And player-wise, my MVP for this episode is definitely Laura.
Yeah. Once again, proving, as she has on several episodes, that she's the one that's on top of connecting the dots.
Yeah.
While you've said multiple times that Travis is our avatar in his reactions, she is the one that connects the dots.
Yeah. She gets where where Matt's going. Yeah. And it's interesting that because augury is a cleric spell, and neither one of them had cast it.
Yeah.
To me, that's interesting, because especially with this group that constantly change plans or what have you, as was complained about by Travis in this episode, because it's like, well, we're just gonna send the skiff in and then he's like, no, fine, fuck it, we're just gonna go. Fine, no, we'll take the ship. I mean, never mind what I say.
Right. So how much are he and or Matt researching boats and how they work and what you do for future sessions at this point?
So I was talking with Tim today about that very thing, and I was telling him that I think Matt kind of treated Travis unfairly.
Okay.
With the whole trip. Because Travis is the only one that has water vehicle proficiency.
Correct.
But he's not the only one who has the skills that a sailor background gives you. He's not the only one with
perception.
Yeah. And see, I think what Matt missed the opportunity to do is to get the players involved in the running of the ship, which I think is what he wanted to do.
Yeah. Well, okay, so here's the question. Does proficiency in athletics and perception make you a sailor?
No, but I think it allows you to perform the functions of the crew on a sailing ship.
Provided you have instruction, which they had not at that point.
Well, see, my feeling is Ford's the one driving the boat.
Right.
So the person driving the boat's the one who needs water vehicles.
The one at the helm, yes.
Yes. Everyone else aboard the ship isn't really driving the boat. they're doing stuff to enable the boat to go.
Right.
Which, so, like, and that's, he never asked Ford for a water vehicle test.
No.
Everything was survival that he had a -2 in.
Yeah.
I mean, he had Orly, and he was giving him advantage, but to me, that's just...
I don't think that was intentional. I mean, how often does water vehicle proficiency come up? Even when I've had characters that have had that proficiency, and you've given me other things to roll.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be, you know, survival is what you would roll for navigating, or navigator's tools.
Yeah.
Dependent. You know, there are different things. I mean, and it's one of those proficiencies like land vehicles that slips through the cracks at times.
Yeah.
Because you don't think of the vehicle proficiencies a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a case of that. And I'm sure Matt's Twitter has been blown up with that.
Well, and that's one of the things that I was talking to him about, because when I was doing my work on Fourth World, the setting that I wrote, I spent maybe 10 hours at least doing research into sailing and hulls and sails and just a bunch of minutia stuff.
Yeah.
And I was talking to him and saying that the boat, the layout of the boat that we saw in the model is a single mast with a lower jib, which means it's probably a triangular sail ship so that it can tack into the wind.
Okay.
And one of the things that I kind of wish that Matt would have touched on, because one of the things they debated was, do we go on the trade route or do we just cut across point A to point B? There's a reason trade routes form with sailing vessels. And that's for the prevailing winds.
Yes.
So if I were Matt, I would have said, okay, yeah, the distance is that much longer, but you are guaranteed to go this fast every day.
Yeah.
Whereas if you cut across, there's no guarantee what your speed's going to be.
Right.
And then maybe you have a little random chart.
For weather conditions.
Yeah, and then you make the water vehicle test to see where in that scale you can make.
Well, see, and that's the stuff I think Matt's going to have to start researching.
Yeah.
Travis, I think he's going to research terms and things like that so that he can play the part of someone who knows how to sail.
Maybe.
I can see him doing it.
I think, okay, if it happens, it might be because they're all going to be, well, if they all are in costume on Thursday, Travis probably brushed up on some stuff. And what venue he went to do it, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I have no doubt there are sailors in the critter community.
Oh, yeah.
And there are sailors in the critter community who are on Twitter. Who are more than willing to give pointers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, we get Gallon.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Everyone except Travis detailed the nature of their disguise.
Okay.
Do you, as Matt, hold that against Travis? Ford?
No.
Yeah. They all said that we're all going to go disguise, so you just give it to them?
I mean, I guess it would depend on where they're going, what they're doing. They're just around the wharfs in a few bars. Yeah, just give it to them.
Okay.
They're going to see an city official. I don't give it to them.
Okay. So do you think then that the crew have a negative reaction to that in a retrospective sense? Because Matt didn't roleplay the fact that these guys all got hired by some people. They get out in the water and they're all somebody else. Now, Ford, of all of them, is the only one that has the ability to keep his disguise up forever.
Correct.
He doesn't have to worry about spell slots or anything. At will, changes.
Yep.
So at the hour mark, he goes to the privy or goes to get a drink, what have you. He just redoes it.
Yep.
Do you think that comes into play? And the next question is, well, I have a joke and observation, more than anything, more than a question. And it has to do with Travis and his captain's name, Tusktooth. And I was like,
Tusktooth, Stone Jaw, Strong Jaw.
Yeah, you got where I'm going. Yeah. I'm like, does he have an oral fixation? Like, I understand. So,
well, he and Matt are on Talks tonight. Maybe that'll be brought up.
Okay. Hopefully it is. Hopefully it is. Because, yeah, that's something that I was like, that's kind of odd.
Yeah.
Although it's funny because, last names came from what you did.
Right.
He's a voice actor. So he's always thinking about his instrument.
I think Tusktooth probably came maybe almost ironically because he files down his tusks.
Yeah.
So his tusks are just teeth.
Yeah, I can see that. For sure.
Honestly, I think he just said the first thing that without thinking.
Actually, no, I think because he was looking through his notes, and I think he was looking through his notes.
You think that's someone from his backstory?
No.
Okay.
I think he saw Tusk Love.
Oh.
And then he went Tusk, and then he was like, wait, Tooth.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah.
I think that was the amount of thought that went into that.
He doesn't come up with aliases on the spot very good, or at least not to the level that Sam does.
That's true. Yeah.
And I think we've all been a little spoiled with the likes of Burt Reynolds and from Campaign 1. Although you mentioned Tuslove, we did have another predestination paradox moment.
Yeah, and this is one of the MVP moments for me for Laura.
Yeah, the jellyfish. And really, thinking about it, when that scene was happening, I thought back. And I know in previous talks, Laura said she's not really flirting. That's just how she, shows friendship because of where she was raised. But if you remember, when they met Marion, and she showed interest in Ford, the look on Jester's face, because it was Jester's face at that point.
Yeah.
I think that's when Jester started realizing, well, maybe I do like Ford a little more.
Yeah.
And now there's this
the most beautiful things can hurt you the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, very picturesque, very, emotionally descriptive moment. And I almost wonder, was that scene for the two of them, or did it not matter who would have ended up on watch and that scene the jellyfish would have happened? I almost think that it was because the two of them were on watch together.
Absolutely 100% not.
Okay.
Because Matt was rolling on random encounter tables.
Okay.
He's really good at hiding it.
Yeah.
He is.
He is.
And if you didn't notice it, it's not your fault.
Because I didn't.
Yeah, no. But yeah, he was back there rolling on random encounter tables.
Okay.
And judging by the travel of his eye, and what I think I heard the die size, because there's only one die he was rolling.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was only probably 8 options.
Okay.
So it was a narrow field to play
Gotcha.
with. But I think he wanted to leave it a little up to chance what they were going to run into on what particular day.
Well, and like you and I always say, the dice know.
Yeah, they do.
And that's a perfect example then. The dice know.
Yeah.
That's why you should, and it's been, I know you've said it, I know I've said it, I know Jeremy Crawford has said it, Nerdarchy has said, lots of,
anyone doing this a long time.
Anyone doing this for any length of time, if it's not something you want to leave to chance, don't involve a dice roll.
Yeah.
If it's something, I don't want them to know this, they have a way of finding it, I'll let them make the dice roll and tell them they found it. Don't do that. If you're going to let them make the dice roll, go with the dice.
Yep.
But like, and don't just make it an inordinately high number because you don't want them to know. Make it a legitimate number for the information and what methods they're using to find it.
Yeah. We had, as Liam put it, 2.5 hours of therapy talk. And I maintain that we were due that knockdown drag-out fight that I predicted. And we narrowly avoided it because of how Jester was the one who interacted with Caduceus and basically helped him come down. And the other major one that stopped that from happening was Caleb.
Yeah.
And as you pointed out, it's because we're seeing more and more of that lawful evil.
Yep. That indoctrination coming back. And I think it's coming back subconsciously for Caleb. He's not actively like, I'm going to delve into this and do this. This is just what he knows, and so it's an instinctual. I don't think he sees himself as being as far back to that as he is.
Okay, I can see why you say it. I can see that.
I think Liam knows this, but I don't think Caleb sees it. Caleb is just justifying. He's you probably saw it, Matt Colville's recent video.
That's what I was going to bring up too.
And the anti-villain, anti-hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Liam and Matt Colville are pretty good friends.
Yeah. And
Colville he stated in that video off the top, we need more evil characters.
Yeah.
And I was like, and the last 2 weeks, especially the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. More than that, but especially like heavily in the last 2 weeks. And I called it like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, a long time ago we did. But we were thinking that was going to be the struggle that Caleb was going to be going through. Mm-hmm. Where now
he's just
embracing it. I'm not sure. I think he's going to do the lawful evil thing.
Yeah.
And he's going to play in that space.
Well, and the concept, I've known the concept of the anti-villain, but I've never really thought of it as anti-villain until that video.
Okay.
And I think that, and I've never heard anyone use the term anti-villain. Not to my recollection.
Yeah.
I've known the concept, but I've never quantified it as a archetype.
Yeah.
But I really think that Caleb probably sees himself as an anti-hero. I don't want to be the hero. But I've got to do this.
I think Caleb sees himself as the villain.
Okay, yeah, I'm mixing up. He sees himself as the anti-villain.
Yeah.
But people are transposing the anti-hero on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where Bo is probably the closest of all of them to that anti-hero mold.
Yes. Yes, I agree with that. I still contend that Ford is pretty close to that. I just don't buy, and I'm going to continue saying this, he is not
lawful good.
I mean, he may have started out that way, that may have been, but every time he just goes further and further from it.
Yeah.
And I've been saying this since the sewers and the, creek, and when he said, I don't care what you do, I'm not part of it. I'm like, that is not lawful good. He is not lawful good. And I stand by it, and I don't think there's been anything to prove me wrong from that point to now that he hasn't been at least walking away from the lawful good.
Yeah, well, the only defense that I have of Travis and Ford is that I don't think Ford is the character that is, I'm going to beat you over the head with my morality, which a lot of lawful good players tend to do, because usually those people...
Right. But there's a difference between not beating someone over the head with their morality and,
putting your blinders on.
Putting your blinders on when, evil wins when good men do nothing.
Yeah.
Or when good men are okay. When they are, not just not doing nothing, but are, I don't care, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm okay with whatever you do. That is where it becomes you're not good anymore.
I can see that.
When you're like, whatever you do.
Especially when you talk about the cosmic significance of the alignment system in D&D.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah.
At that point, to me, is when you're no longer good.
Yeah. For sure.
And again, this isn't like I'm not attempting to attack Travis or Ford. I love the character. I love the act. This is just my observation, my opinion of what I've seen.
And I think... So we know that they have the group text.
Right.
Where they talk.
Yes.
And I think where Liam has decided for Caleb to embrace that lawful evil nature, I think the same thing is going for Travis and Ford. I think
to embrace the lawful evil nature?
Well, no. to really step into the lawful good.
Okay. I'm gonna amend my comment. And he has been, I still think he's been walking away from the good. He's we have not really seen, I was about to say, we haven't seen him, the thing that really cements this opinion in my mind is that we have not seen him struggle with these actions or in repercussions of inactions. We've seen him be
for this
totally,
last episode.
And that's what I was just going to bring up when he was talking, and he was talking about this power that I'm getting. It scares me. I will say that is the only time we have seen that, and that is the only. I will say that is a defense against my opinion.
Yeah,
and that could be the struggle finally coming out.
Yeah,
but we have not up until that now. I mean, do what you want. I'm okay with it, and it's never weighed on him. At least not through visual cues, through words, through statements, until that moment when he and Bo were talking.
Yeah.
And that could be his swing back. That could be the start of his swing back.
Yeah, I think so.
So, and I will say that if that happens, great, because a lawful good and a lawful evil vying for leadership in the same group is amazing role play.
Yes. Yeah. And
especially
really,
when the lawful good owes the lawful evil guy his life.
Yeah. Well, and we've already had that. I mean, in theory, we can call it foreshadowing if we want to, right. But we've already had. You're not going to take that.
Yeah. And that was a lawful good moment. But I will stand by my argument in saying that was before the crick.
Yes.
And I've been saying it since the crick and the sewers.
Yeah. Like I said, this episode really, we probably should have more to talk about Ford than we do, because we don't really have a whole lot.
Well, okay, here's something.
Other than his curiosity and drive to want to know is overshadowing any fear he might have.
Okay, so here's the thing, though. That comment, that arc that we just touched on, where he's like, this scares me, these powers, you know, and he even says, I didn't study like Caleb. I didn't learn. I don't deserve this, you know. That's part of why he wants to know about it. That's part of why it scares him.
Yeah.
But that leads or lends credit to what I said about the closer he gets to the water and his patron, the more it's influencing his actions. Now, whether or not that was intentional, whether or not...
Well, yeah, again, I think that comes down to a chicken and the egg mechanics versus...
Right. But,
I
mean, that whole thing, I was thinking, well, okay, is he fighting that influence? Is there, I mean...
I think that was Ford's moment to recognize...
Was that Travis addressing the theory out there that the patron is influencing him?
Maybe. But I think that was Travis's moment for Ford to realize, so the mechanics influencing roleplay, that the things that he can do are not good.
Yeah.
So I need something which pushes him closer to the multi-class.
Yeah. That was my thought, was that.
And that's what I thought too.
Studying under Caleb, going to the academy, whatever, you know.
To do his multi-class into wizard.
Yeah. Which would be really exciting. Travis has said the wizard thing scares him, you know, but maybe playing the warlock and kind of getting you makes him want to dabble a little. Maybe I'll multi-class a couple levels, see how I like it. I can always go back.
Yeah. Or he completely abandons the idea of more arcane power and just decides to go into fighter.
Yeah.
To get action surge.
Or
second wind.
Or paladin.
Yeah.
Although, no, his strength's not high enough.
Strength is in 13?
Strength is 10. It's 10 or 11. He's got a 0 modifier on dex and strength.
Oh, yeah. So, fighter and paladin are an option.
Yeah. Well, fighter is because he can be based on, no, because that's strength or dex.
Yeah.
His con and his charisma
yeah,
are his two big scores.
Well, if his strength is 11,
he could do
an ASI at 8th level.
And then
to get
multi-class
to 13
at
at 9th level.
Yeah.
Which is where most of them started picking up their multi-classes in Campaign 1.
That's true. So we could see him dump it into strength and go paladin.
Yeah.
And I think that would be I know there's the whole, you could do spawn with a paladin warlock, you can, but I think the way he's playing it would be a really exciting roleplay for a warlock paladin.
Given the conversation he had with Bo, and given what we're talking about, and the paladin possibility, does he take Oath of Redemption?
I was thinking that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm glad we're on
the same page there. Yeah. Interesting thing about that topic and what we just discussed about the lawful good and the lawful evil vying for leadership. The tricky thing about that is they have both made agreements with Bo. You keep me in check, I'll keep you in check. And Caleb and Bo did that. Now Ford and Bo have done that.
Yeah.
So it's like the teeter-totter. Ford on one side, Caleb on the other. The fulcrum is Bo.
Yeah.
Where do the rest of them sit? We know where Nut sits.
Yeah.
We know where Jester sits.
Yeah. So it's a matter of where
Caduceus
and Yasha.
Yeah.
Which, Yasha. Ashley.
We miss you.
Man. Like every time they were talking to Caduceus, and Caduceus is explaining where he's coming from, especially when he's talking about his crisis of faith in the omen, accepting the omen, the sign that they were what he was waiting for. I've just like, and the fact that their quests are, well, to be fair, we haven't had any confirmation of what Yasha's quest is. But everything we've seen thus far indicates she's that trying to heal the land.
Parallel, if not intertwined.
Yes. So I'm just like, and Matt knows this stuff.
We need the filming break to happen,
right? Which is why he sprinkled a little bit of Yasha into that conversation,
right? And I'm sure he's discussed with Ashley, so he knows what to share, how to react.
For sure. But he did it in such a way that he didn't reveal anything that that Ashley might not want revealed.
Right.
He just did it in a way that was encouraging and that said, hey, we're on the same journey.
Yeah.
Not necessarily exposition.
Yes.
That is really better left for the player to give.
Yeah.
But I want it so bad. Yeah, that was probably the biggest disappointment of the episode, is not having Ashley there to have that interaction with Caduceus.
Yeah.
But it's, and this, well, if I'm right,
okay,
it's going to get harder and harder for that not to come up.
Yeah.
Because, we're pretty short on time.
Yeah.
And I think is there any other, we saw Caleb and Bo, Caleb acknowledging again, thanking her, you haven't told anyone.
We need to discuss something about Caleb Bo, though. And you brought this up before stream, and you touched on it during stream. Part of the reason we didn't get that knockout drag down you called is because he blatantly lied to Bo.
Yeah.
And then in the scene
between him and Not, and he basically admits that everything he said to her was a lie.
And her reaction,
just,
which again is that whole lawful evil manipulation, that indoctrination that we've seen. And then the other thing that I feel we need to touch on that was important, the reason why Not was my MVP, was she was doing that power piece, the power behind the throne, the keeping, and she was doing it to everybody. She was influencing everybody. She ran up and got Caduceus to come down. She was talking to Caleb. She was even like, yeah, it's okay that you use the mind control on me.
Which is where we thought she would come down on it.
Yeah, but the way that it happened, I almost think she was like, I'm going to let this be okay so that I have something on, He obviously feels guilty, so I've got something.
It's a little dark. I don't think Not is that way. I could certainly see how, if a fight ever comes up between Caleb and Not, she'll use it.
Well,
but I don't think...
I see it more as not even that, but as a bargaining chip to make sure he stays on track to do what she needs him to do for her end game.
Okay. I'll buy that.
Because just like Caleb will do whatever, and he's talked about leaving multiple times to make sure his goals are met, she's got that same attitude.
Except I think he's turned a corner on that. Because it really was, and in that conversation between Knott and Caleb,
I will agree that he's turned a corner, but I will say this whole campaign he's been zigzagging that corner. He's been taking it and then jutting back, and then taking it and then jutting back. Because he's leaving. I don't want to leave there, my friend. I don't want to, that corner's been a zigzag this whole campaign.
Fair. But I think it's, in some ways, and maybe it's because of Caduceus' reaction.
Yeah.
That Caleb has decided, I need to make sure this team stays together and we need to do whatever that takes.
Yeah. Well, and just to continue with my dark interpretation of things, because that's what I tend to do, he wants to keep the team together because right now they're his best opportunity to achieve his goals.
Yeah.
It's not, I think he genuinely likes them. He genuinely wants to be their friend. He genuinely wants, but Liam even said in the last talks he was on, they are helping me get my goal.
Yeah.
If making them happy continues that, I want to make them happy.
Yeah.
I want them to be happy, but that's a collateral consequence. Yeah. This is my goal.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's really me going to a dark place or me just remembering that statement and saying, this is the lawful evil guy we're talking about at this point in time.
That's true.
So, well, we're getting short on time.
Yeah, we give about 13 minutes.
What are we thinking is going to happen?
So, I spent a not insignificant amount of my day brainstorming on more specific predictions than I was able to offer last episode.
Okay.
And I think I've come down to a prime suspect, which is for the big bad on the island, an aboleth.
Okay.
Sawajin, Marrow, Grung, and lizard folk, lower tier,
okay,
are the possibilities for the humanoids they'll end up fighting.
Okay.
I am 90% sure we're going to see a shambling mound.
Okay.
The Iron Sun, I can't remember the exact wording that when Orly was giving them the legends of the island.
Okay.
It was Iron Bound or something bound.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember.
And wild people.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that could refer to.
Mm-hmm.
So unless it's some sort of slave situation.
Possibly.
I also think we are going to get the first indication of the efforts that are going into releasing the Chained Oblivion.
I agree 100% with that. I am sticking with my prediction because I did say the next episode to 2 episodes. Although, for at least the interaction with the patron.
And the dream sequence.
The aboleth could be, we've discussed that, an aboleth in service to the Kraken or the road to the Kraken. I think that falls right in line. Depending on when we meet Avantika, which from the description that Matt gave, I'm thinking Autumn Eladrin. The red-brown skin, mass hair, pointed elven ears.
Well, Well, the Eladrin can change their season.
Right, but if she's going as an autumn, if that's, they don't have to, they can. And that's great for when you're pulling your pirate ship in with a false name and they're looking for an autumn Eladrin. Someone with this description.
And also might explain why, when they were talking about her coming to port, that she never actually comes to port.
Yeah. And
because she just changes her season.
And I'm still saying that she or...
Does she have the blessing of Corellon? That she can change her sex?
Possibly. The gender neutral, gender fluid thing has been kind of a pointed sub theme that all that types are in this. Yeah. That the world is like our world. It has all types of people. I could very easily see that happening, and it does not negate that she could very well be, and I still think
Water Ashari.
I still think there's a high probability. I'm not saying that that's what she is. I'm saying there's a high probability.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate.
So I think she's an autumn Eladrin, Water Ashari. I'm going to throw that out there. I'm going to call that. We'll see how much of that I get right when we meet her and learn about her. But at this point in time, I'm saying I think that's what the narrative is going to lead to.
Which could be interesting when they confront her, because Ford has Summer's Dance. And she has Misty Step.
Mm-hmm.
As an Eladrin. So that could lead to some interesting and awesome moments.
Yes.
Of like over here, and then he thunder steps, and yeah. That could be cool.
Yeah, so I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with the Patron Dream. I'm going to agree with you on the Apoleph. I think that makes the most sense to me.
Yeah. It's a little high for the CR that they're at right now, but there's a lot of them.
But he also has, they've talked about in the home game that they fought a lich when they were he just made it someone who had just been reborn and was weaker. So
yeah, there's a lot of ways
he's definitely adjusted monsters because he wanted to use that and it fit.
Yeah.
And
I don't think he necessarily has to in this case. It's only CR10 and there's 7 level 6 players.
Yeah.
Some of which are really high on DPS.
Yeah.
So I don't think he needs to. The trick is going to be, can they survive the mental fuckery that the Apoleph can do to them on their way down?
And as someone playing a character with low wisdom, that's going to be fun to watch Ford try.
Oh, yeah, man.
But those are my predictions. I'm sticking with the same ones, agreeing with you on the Apoleph. I think...
And I don't think we start next episode with them meeting Avantika.
No, we don't.
I think she's still on the ship.
That's either...
an underling that she's sending.
Yeah, the captain doesn't go out. They send first mate or...
Yeah. Despite what Star Trek tried to tell you.
But yeah, I think we meet her mid to late episode.
Okay.
Actually, in person.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So,
unless Ford does such a bang up job of lying to whoever comes on aboard.
That's true.
Look, we're taking on water. We need to beach this.
Yeah.
Takes his lashings for being an idiot and a horrible seaman. And if her goal was to go into the island...
If he has to take lashings... Are you talking literal? Because if he has to take literal lashings with this guy's self up, he gets whipped and there's no marks.
Yeah. I was speaking figuratively.
Okay.
Although, in a pirate fleet, literal lashes are not outside the...
Yeah, that's why my mind went there, and I'm like, cover blown.
Yeah. Yeah. And there are just so many ways that everybody else can turn that into just chaos
Mm-hmm.
and a bloodbath.
Yeah.
And Bo is my number one probable person that happens with.
Okay.
And I think it comes when they meet Avantika. If the ruse has held that he's the captain that they killed, and they get aboard the ship, the captain's going to say something that's going to trigger Bo.
Okay. I can see that.
Or they're going to be asked to do something or participate in something that Caduceus just isn't going to do.
Yeah.
But I think one way or another, whether to make up for a mistake or something, they're going to be the ones that Avantika sends into the jungle, or they're going to have to kill Avantika and then go into the jungle.
Yeah. I think they'll get sent. I think Avantika's going to be around for a while, especially if I'm right about the Water Ashari.
Yeah, I think so.
So, anyway, that's about all the time we have, I think.
We've got 4 more minutes.
4 minutes. All right. Any last words we need to discuss?
Let's see. What didn't we? The Harpy fight.
The Harpy fight.
Because there was a question from Tim about where did they come from, and I pointed out to him Matt had a random encounter table.
Right.
But the next morning, Matt says you pass by some rocks.
Yep.
They probably came from there.
Yeah.
It was at night, but even if it wasn't at night, the horizon line's only about 11 miles.
Yeah.
Unless you can get up high. And the mast is only 30 feet, so they're not getting that high.
Unless Exandria is a flat world.
So that's yes. Last couple minutes. Let's talk about that. Because they made the joke that Not was a one planet or one worlder.
Yes.
When Caleb was like, see that? That's another planet.
That's a planet. No, we're on the planet.
Yeah. Which is interesting. Is going to be so much fun, I think. Because... So, that's the other interesting thing that was happening this last episode. Is how much world exposition the players were giving.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we were joking about how much Travis is going to learn about sailing or not.
Right.
But just looking at that map, he was able to nail down whatever notes he has.
Yeah, whatever notes, background he's discussed with Matt.
Yeah, he was able to say it's probably this reef.
He said that
and
was
Matt
the first
made
one he
him
said,
roll.
and then a couple others. And he went back to that first one.
Yeah.
And that's the one it was.
Yeah. And Caleb has told us there's another planet.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if he has actually discussed that with Matt, or if that's just he's assuming.
If he's just assuming.
There's at least one other planet, usually.
Yeah.
So, because it's a wanderer. So, yeah, that was interesting. And I look forward to seeing where that goes. And, but we're going to raid Critical Role's channel for Talks Machnia, guys. And we're out of time. So we hope to see you next week.
See you guys next week.